computer. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Continue.
All right, hello again, everybody. So, yeah, the next thing we kind of talk about are healthy habitats. So greenways help us create these healthy habitats by giving people opportunities to get outside, explore their region. And we also do a lot of work that kind of is part of the conversation why we started thinking about doing this together with 1STL that works with conservation, sustainability, native plants, a lot of things like that, that I will dive into a little bit later. 3, stuff we all need. So our biggest requested thing, of course, is restrooms. But basically we have things along the trails everywhere, like rain gardens that are super practical. I mean, restrooms, obviously super practical as well. But we also have some really great places that we have truly state-of-the-art kind of mini parks that I'll talk about in a little bit as well. Connections to our region. So big part of our mission is we don't want to just connect people using trails, right? It's connecting people across watersheds, across zip codes, getting somebody to explore a neighborhood they maybe haven't been to before, and just bringing people together. Oh, it's not feeling it.
It's lagging. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. So it's really kind of a common thing. We hear a lot that we get mixed up with like trail nut, for example, right? We're bike paths. This is something where people can come to, if you want to ride a bike, ride a bike. You can walk, you can push a stroller, you can roll a wheelchair. We want it to be something where it just gives people an opportunity to be outside. There are so many health benefits that we've seen. And I have some pretty decent resources that I can share afterwards, but they're very long sources that I didn't totally copy down. But this is something that we've seen: improved brain activity, cardiovascular health, decreased stress, improved mental health. We actually saw a bump over the pandemic from about 2 million visitors a year to about 3 million. And we kind of joke that it's like, families could get out together, or if you wanted to escape from being stuck in with your family 24/7, you could go and explore and have some time to yourself. So it really is just such a broad swath of how you can use these greenways. So togetherness, solitude, all of it. Hello, friends.
Hello, welcome.
All right, so our next slide is thinking about it, but we've got some stats on Great Rivers Greenway. So we just hit 140 miles at 25 years, which is exciting, but does kind of give you an idea of the amount of time that it takes for us to work to get these created. And I'll go a little bit into our operations and maintenance to kind of walk through that. We have about 3 million visits a year. That's stayed pretty steady. Lots of projects currently happening. I can show you in a little bit to our website where you can go and visit to see what projects are currently either open for feedback or under construction. Lots of great stuff. We have 250 plus partners. So basically, when we are working to create the greenways, we always start with community engagement, and we keep community engagement throughout. The most important thing is that we want to ensure where we are building is where people want us to be. We work with the willing. We don't ever build where a community isn't sure what they need, but we do try to coordinate with all of these partner agencies, and that can take some time. So we have about 250-ish partners currently, and we have about 14,000 hours in volunteer help a year. So we love our volunteers, and we have a big program called the Friends of the Great Rivers Greenway, where you can either volunteer a certain number of hours or give, I think it's $50. So we're trying to make sure that we are equally valuing, monetary contributions, but time contributions. Like, we could not do what we do without this many volunteers. And then there's a very riveting tax slide later, so hold on. But 94 cents of every dollar is returned to the community. So we really pride ourselves on being as efficient as possible to make sure that we are, when we're constructing a project, for example, St. Vincent Greenway. So if you're at the Missouri History Museum at the top part of Forest Park, that greenway runs along where the trolley runs. So when the trolley was going in, we said, hey, wait, we're building something here too. So while we're not crossing funding between any of those projects. If somebody's already doing construction in an area, we jump in if we have a Greenway segment there to make sure we're being efficient with money, efficient with time, all of those separate pieces. I think, do we need to admit? Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Thank you.
No, you're
I'm
totally good.
like,
You're totally good. The riveting tax part, I
the
understand.
taxes, I can't wait. Thank you.
For sure.
Just a
Yay. All good?
minute. Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay.
Okay, so this, skipping around, is the overall Greenway vision for the end goal. It's 600 miles. And we cover the whole area. It's 600 miles of paved greenways, right? But the whole area itself is about 1,200 square miles. For reference, that's like the size of Rhode Island. We have about 50 people working at Great Rivers Greenway. So it is a very big undertaking that takes the whole community. Again, like our volunteer help, our operations and maintenance teams. It's a big group. Here's another view of that map. We do have an interactive map on our website that is being refreshed and will be relaunched by the end of the year. That will kind of mimic, if you're familiar with All Trails, it's kind of a similar looking map, but it kind of will help you plan if you haven't been out on a greenway yet. What's a short trip, a medium trip, a long trip? Do you want shade? Do you want it to be sunny? It really helps go through.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Did you just say that was your end goal?
The two ago, yes. How do I go back?
I don't know why it's not coming through the speaker, but oh, you want to go back?
Yes.
Oh, because I thought you would never be done. I just wanted
sometimes
you guys
it feels
to
like
make
that.
more.
It's a long time. It's a long time for that process. So again, we have 25 years under our belt, 140 miles. So it's going to take some time. But yeah, sometimes it does feel like it's going to take quite some time. So we have, as I mentioned, about close-ish to 50 people on staff. We have 5 teams. We have 12 appointed board members that kind of help us figure out priorities, goals, where our funding should be, and generally lead us. And you can always come visit us. We're at the Foundry. We have a really cool office right across from, if you know where the Alamo Cinema is, right across from that. Always check us out online. I probably have some cards on me, but I do also recommend if you want to reach out to like our info general email, that's me as well. And I can try to answer any questions you might have. So sorry, it's for some reason skipping some of these guys. I'm gonna run back right quick. Interesting.
I'm sorry. So I just have one more question.
Yeah, of course.
Like, what is it projected that you would be finished, and then like, it would just miss you guys in the community. Like, does it mean like you have a retirement plan like set up, or you know what I mean?
Just 1 second, audio is a little funky. Sorry,
Yeah, I
think
don't
this
know
needs to be
why
refreshed.
it's not.
showing. And then if you can yes, please. For me as well.
Sorry. Technical difficulty.
I can kind of keep going, but I think it'll be a little bit easier once we get our slides back up. So kind of talking about how we tie into 1STL's conservation, transportation, all the things that we want to do to make the region more sustainable. We provide transportation alternatives that are accessible. So for example, if you were at the Missouri History Museum and you wanted to go to a show like at the Two Hill, right? You'd probably have to take 3-ish highways for a trip that's about 6 miles. So there are ways that you can get where you're going a little bit more quickly, particularly as this system comes to life and builds out further. That it's just going to be something that helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions, gives additional options. We do also look at, when we are doing construction, improving traffic flows. So everything that we do, which kind of coming into this, I really want to focus on getting some more of this onto our website, but we study our projects so thoroughly. We try to make sure that we have, no, it's these two right before that one. Not sure why it's not showing up. We double check all of the crossings where we're going, work with different agencies and make sure so for example, when we work with counties, making sure those pedestrian crossings are appropriate for where we're coming across streets or roadways. We do a lot of road diet projects that when you slim down the available lanes for cars, it really helps reduce collisions, traffic incidents, fatalities. There's a couple spots actually that we're working on Grand for our Brick Lane Greenway that sincerely, like the before and after is really interesting to see how much less road people have to cross to get to where they're trying to go. That is one of the most dangerous crossings in the nation. So that's something that's studied for all projects as well. Conservation, watershed stewardship, and native plants are a big part of what we do. So we do often hear, the Greenway is flooded in this area. That's kind of what we want when flooding happens, right? We would rather have something flood that is an outdoor asset than your home or a business. We use a lot of permeable surfaces. So for example, if you've been up to Chain of Rocks Park, that whole parking lot is a permeable surface that helps with drainage. It keeps flooding from happening. We have a rain garden there as well that does absorb some of the additional runoff. And in a lot of places, like I mentioned with native plants, they have such better root systems than turf grass, right? So turf grass is about like an inch maybe for the root system, whereas native plants, their roots go much deeper. So all of this is really kind of trying to help within the region, make sure we don't have as much flooding where things shouldn't be flooding. So sometimes you will see a greenway flooded. Let's see what else. Oh, and then invasive plant removal. We do a lot of honeysuckle hack events. So bush honeysuckle, if you know anything about invasives, is our mortal enemy, right? It is very pervasive. It has very early blooming time that chokes out other plants and keeps them from growing. So we try to maintain as much as possible with volunteer events and also working with the partner communities that then take over the greenways after they're built. Let's see if this guy is feeling it.
Just do one and done.
One and done.
And it'll get there.
So this is a little bit about our community engagement. So everything we do for each greenway is so specific to each area. It's never really a copy and paste project in any way because different communities have different needs. And the communities that we're building in, again, we want to know that they want a greenway near them. And we also want to know about the area. No one is going to know the area better than that community. And we don't ever want to create a situation where, we're not helping economically or environmentally. So we come in, we talk about a general area where a project will be, and then we explore different alignments or routes and just work through, okay, what homes would this go by? What businesses would this go by? All sorts of things that come together to begin to form that plan. And then throughout, we continue to work with the community to get their feedback on, like we'll have an open house and say, okay, we determined these 2 alignments. What looks good to you? What concerns do you have? What things should we add to this? Oh, the riveting tax slide, I promised it was coming. So we have 2 propositions. One in 2000, so that's going to be our anniversary is November 7th. That's when that came into effect. And there's a bit of a breakdown up here. So the areas that we serve are St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and St. Charles County. So that first vote in 2000 created 1/10 of a cent on sales tax. That does exclude like food and pharmacy orders, things like that. But across the board, it's 1/10 of a cent. So like $6-ish a year for everybody to fund these greenways across that Rhode Island sized area. Part of the other funding in the other proposition, we did some work with the City Arch River project. So that revitalization of the riverfront, we partnered with the National Park Service, and it was one of the largest partnerships of that kind to redo the area around the arch, and that comes from that proposition in 2013. So there is going to be a vote in 2033. So you can kind of see on Prop C, that's in perpetuity. We have that nailed down. On Prop P, that's through 2033. So we will be voting on that again to decide whether, the public wants to continue funding the greenways. Since the City Arch River project is done, all of that additional funding would go to St. Louis City and St. Louis County. St. Charles County did not vote to move forward with Prop P. So then that would kind of help us continue to maintain the greenways as we add on more mileage. Again, over the years, it's a long-term vision. So we want to model ourselves as a community asset. Has anybody heard of the Highline Network by any chance? Hey, okay. So we have some awesome, really great models, right, in other cities, but they are stretches that are just a couple miles, which is great. We need green spaces, we need outdoor spaces, comma. We are one of the first of our kind taking on something of this size and trying to figure out how operations and maintenance work. So when we were established, we said we would build these greenways. And then it got to the point that once they were built, right, they're handed over to typically municipalities, our partners that have that land. We don't own pretty much all but 3 spots on the greenways. So we had to determine, okay, how is this going to work for each area? Some places have big parks departments with big operations and maintenance teams that have the capacity, that have the funding to take care of what's built. There are others, however, that have like maybe 2 people, one of which is part-time, and maybe less funding. So it is definitely something that we want there to be equitable experiences. So each of our operations and maintenance contracts, if you will, looks a little bit different depending on where we are. So we're just really trying to bring people together. As I said earlier, it's bringing the region together, not based on our zip codes or our neighborhoods or where we typically are, but bringing people into areas they might not have explored before, or might not have been able to access before.
Can I
Yeah.
clarify that?
For sure.
So like Grants Trail,
Yeah.
it runs through, we'll say 13 municipalities. Does each municipality just take responsibility for the stop of that trail within their city limits? Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So it's kind of a broad spectrum, but in that particular instance, it's a lot of working with the county specifically. So sometimes when there are larger agencies, we can work with them to kind of streamline things. And again, it's an evolving process as we continue to build. So a lot of times in running that info inbox, I hear, hey, there's pavement buckling in this area. Then we contact our partners and talk with them about, is this in your budget to fix? When are you doing any other, again, construction in the area that maybe we could fit this in? It's a lot of very singular specific things. And it does kind of help to do it in that way. As we're evolving it and trying to make sure it's more broad, it is something that each place just has such specific needs. So specifically with Grant Hill, yes, the county.
Sorry, one more.
Yeah, please.
Do you try to focus on derelict land? Like, is this also a opportunity to take, we'll call them brownfields for lack of a better term. How often is a greenfield versus brownfield that becomes a greenway?
Yeah,
Because it's
a good question.
Versus virgin
Yeah.
land.
Yeah, I think sometimes, again, so every answer can be sometimes yes,
Of course,
sometimes
no.
yeah. So I think it's something that there are a couple places up by on the Brickline North Connector. We go by the Boys and Girls Club. Close to there is a brownfield that is being turned into a golf course. Usually if something is turned into a golf course, boo, we don't like that. But in this case, it is a good use of that space, right? But it didn't necessarily align exactly with where pedestrian connections would be. So sometimes we're adjacent to those places, sometimes we run through those places, but first and foremost, we're working on connecting this larger region. So if it does run through a place that we can help the land in any way, which we kind of try to do throughout, is something that I'm trying to think if there's some other agencies locally that do specifically focus on those, but I wouldn't say we try to do those so much as find the connection. And then if we go through that area, build accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So here's some of our lovely volunteers. We do all sorts of work with the Outdoor Leadership Corps, which is a program through the Missouri Botanical Gardens that helps people kind of get into careers in green spaces. So a lot of times we'll partner with them on tree plantings or honeysuckle hacks. We do trash bashes. We had a big one this last weekend, but again, could not do this without our volunteers. So in 2024, we had 9,000 hours of service, and about almost 3,000 volunteers. So that gave us 5 more people on our staff. So thank you to everyone who did that. But yeah, it is just something that even if you come out for just a weekend, it makes a world of difference. We also do programs and events. So we do Greenway walk and yogas or bird watching. We do some bike pieces. Down there in the middle, someone is holding a rock that is painted like a frog. So every spring we do our Greenway quest where we paint rocks like different animals every year. And this year, for example, it was frogs and toads. We worked at the St. Louis Zoo and partnered to do a community science project. So the rocks were painted as 3 different varieties of frogs or toads. You could then learn about that particular species, go record calls, and help just determine populations in our area. So both fun and helpful. I think that's
Being touchy.
a little bit. So some ways to get involved besides volunteering, we have our Greenway goods that we partner with local artisans to create one-of-a-kind unique things. Like that top left is a really cool candle where they actually make the ceramic vessels themselves so they can be reused afterwards. They are scents that you'd find in native plants along the greenways. All of it ties back to the larger mission and does donate a little bit back to the greenways as well as those artists that created the items. Oh, I don't know if my air horn's going to work, so I might just have to. Oh,
I can make it.
okay, so your greenways are turning 25, as we mentioned. One time I did do this presentation and it worked too well and it got stuck on the air horn.
Oh.
It's like, oh my God, it's exciting, but yeah, it's not that exciting. So again, our birthday is November 7th. And starting this July, we started doing some birthday activities that included that party I was telling you about, but also bingo. So if you go on our website, there is a digital card you can download that gets people out on the greenways exploring a little bit more. We have some pop-ups at like local parks and rec departments as well. A little bit of information on our anniversary party. Let's see. I think we're to the end. I think this might have eaten one of my slides, so I do want to just go back and not you at all. To touch on our operations and maintenance. So we build the greenways. Once they're done, we turn them over to those municipalities. We do still do programming that is fully led by GRG, but we do also work with areas that have programs that they might want to bring outside but not know where to have them, which has been really fun as well, just to kind of see all the different uses that are possible. We started a program on the riverfront after that revitalization called Riverfront Vendors. So throughout the summer, there's different stalls where you can go visit a lot of different places. I believe we had like boat and kayak rentals. We had different food vendors, a lot of just fun things to kind of activate those spaces. But that is kind of towards the end of it. So I do want to quickly talk about Trojan Park. Is there a way that I could pop out and get into a browser? Actually, pretty quick.
Yeah, we should be able to do
Potentially.
that. If I go.
So,
here.
when I was talking about earlier, some of the places that we do help further with maintenance and operations, one of them is Trojan Park. So if you head up St. Vincent, it's on that part of that northern part of St. Vincent. And
I think you can search on there and then share this.
yeah. Let's do the. Thanks for your patience with our tech work here, gang.
Never ends with the technology.
Yeah, I thought I had it all. I thought everything that could have gone wrong earlier did, so I was like hoping by the time I got here it would cooperate a little bit more.
Well, I went and clicked a in meeting instead of share button today. So,
That's fun.
we always get.
We love when that happens.
The issue is between the chair and the computer.
Love that. Yeah, that
hard.
probably is also part of. Let's see if we can get this guy to cooperate. And where do I
want
share?
to play this?
Yes, please.
Go back to the,
Yeah. This guy?
and then we'll do this one
guy.
since we're gonna Well,
That this?
or, yeah, that.
Cool, 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 cool. All right, let's see if this cooperates, friends online. Whee, okay. We're along for the ride here. I did just want to show this because this is such a cool space.
Hopefully.
I
we
don't know
can
if our
keep-
sound is gonna work. We'll try.
Hopefully.
Oh, wait. So this park was started, the idea for this park was started in 2016. So there was a parks conference here in St. Louis, and kind of similar to national parks, they have the leave it better than you found it kind of mentality. So they actually had a grant you could apply for, the host city could apply for, and we did, and ended up getting funding for Trojan Park, which has a massive splash pad. It has grills, it has a spot to hook up for like bands to come and play. There's musical instruments, there's exercise equipment, an NBA full-size basketball court. A lot of really cool things that this community didn't have before, that we were able to get a lot of funding just from working with those groups that came to St. Louis, saw that they could add. And the spot is just, it's so fun. If you've not checked it out, I would totally recommend just swing by. But it's also a really cool addition that it was named Trojan Park because there was a high school nearby that ended up being shut down, so they didn't have that basketball area anymore. So in the middle of the basketball, not me trying to say basketball field, I don't know sports. Sorry.
Basketball field.
Basketball court, that one, not field. So you can see the little like Trojan head there. So the community voted to name it Trojan Park because that was the mascot for the previous school that closed. So I believe we actually even have like NBA people from Boston. So it was a really cool thing to like give back a spot that the whole community could enjoy. We do a little bit of additional maintenance here just because that's the place that has like 2 people in their parks department, but we still want this to be an asset for the community to use. So yeah, it's a really cool, the National Recreation and Parks Association was the conference. But that's just a really cool example of one of the really interesting spots along the greenways. Another big one is Chain of Rocks Park by Chain of Rocks Bridge. That's a fan favorite as well. We've put in an entire park up there by that crossing. But yeah, so that's like general large overview of greenways. There's so much to cover. And I know we've answered some questions, but is there anything that I can answer further or clarify further? Or if I don't have an answer, follow up with you later?
Nick, can I ask a question regarding what's like the criteria that you guys use when like wanting to like expand the greenways?
Yeah,
Like I see on your map, you have these dotted lines for
yes.
future greenways. So what goes into deciding, what constitutes a new greenway, basically?
Yeah. So a lot of it is that large master plan, right? So we do have areas that we're trying to connect based on following it was originally called the river ring since it follows the rivers.
Yeah.
Right, so it's going to connect those places as a whole, but basically what we're looking for is the willingness of the community and then the feasibility of each particular segment. So we do feasibility studies that say, okay, if we're going in this area, how do we connect to already existing greenways, right? So we are expanding a network. We don't want there to be pieces of greenway that are just kind of disconnected. That's exactly, yeah. So we're trying to bring everything together. So as we have been established for really a quarter of a century now, we do have some of that framework laid out where we're starting to see what parts need to be connected. And again, it's just safety is a priority. So making sure we have safe crossings in areas, making sure, if there aren't those safe crossings, how do we either realign or make it a safer area? So, thinking about putting in a bridge or something that's a very large structural undertaking might not be the best use of your dollars, right? So again, it's an efficiency thing. So it's kind of a combination answer of a lot of different things have to line up.
Multi-criteria.
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah, it's very much something for me personally, from like an operations standpoint. It's definitely
like a group of people with
Yes.
different expertise, right?
Exactly. So we have project managers that are super versed in construction and work with our construction vendors to make sure everything is all good to go. We have our community engagement members that say, okay, wait, before we build, we need to decide where the community thinks this segment would be best. So we are getting to the point now where we have a couple endpoints, but it's just kind of figuring out how to connect those. Yeah,
I was wondering, is there, are there funds put towards like plantings or, other types of green?
yeah.
Whatever it be, along the constructed like pathway itself?
Yeah, so a lot of times we work in right of ways where the area, I think it's like 10 to 12 feet. We try to make each path itself when it's paved be about that size. And then outside of that, we do a lot of landscaping additions as well. So rain gardens, anything to help with, like, we put in bollards in some areas for traffic safety. But there is also a Great Rivers Greenway Foundation. So to kind of tie back to your question, a lot of people ask, well, why do you have a foundation if you are tax funded? The tax funding specifically goes to getting things built, right? But then our foundation helps us do what we call betterments. So adding in additional landscaping, adding in restrooms, adding in amenities and features throughout. So we want to get things built, and then we can kind of come back and look at, okay, how can we upgrade this specific area with additional funding that typically comes from our foundation?
Can I add something?
Oh, yes, please.
I'm Cheryl Williams. I work at Great Rivers Greenway as outreach specialist. So I've been involved in a lot of these projects where they were literally in public engagement stage and as part of the outreach, going to events and talking to the public. I get to hear a lot of the groundswell of enthusiasm, especially it could be regionally, and I think of St. Charles County and how I've talked to so many people, especially if I was at an event in St. Charles County, and people would tell me, we want a connection to this or to this, or connections to the Katy Trail. And so all of that gets taken into organization for feedback and just noted. And a lot of those people are also not just saying that, they're saying, who can I talk to get this project going? I literally heard that. And I mean, it just shows you the enthusiasm and the way people want to do more than wait on the wheels to turn. They want to really pull together consensus agreement and resources. And there was one lady, I remember, she was not taking no answer. I'm not that I was telling her no, but everybody she was talking to in her city government was saying, no, no, she talked to probably everybody at Great Rivers Greenway. And I believe she prevailed in what she was asking for, just wanting to be part of the conversation.
I think that's a big part of it too, is because we are technically a government agency, right? A lot of people expect when you reach out to that general contact, like an info, you're like, I am never gonna hear back. You get a DMV kind of mindset of like, this is going into the void. And genuinely, we try to answer everything in a couple of days. Like, we have people reach out all the time with, hey, what about this connection? Have you thought about this area? Or, you know, from this subdivision to this subdivision. It's a lot of really great feedback and input and just involvement that we get, which I have not always seen kind of at this local level. And it's really nice to see people kind of starting to see all the benefits and see the larger vision as things kind of come together and connect in ways that they haven't before.
So there's a lot of community pride in local trails.
Absolutely.
Y'all are more of a regional trail system.
Mhm.
Then you cross the river, there's a whole bunch of additional regional trail systems.
Yeah.
Is there an organization over the organizations that is promoting just the trails unrelated to being, this is a Chesterfield trail, this is a Madison County trail, this is a
Yeah.
Great River Greenway trail, just, you know, like your map
Mhm.
obviously focuses on what's under your control.
Exactly.
And I would assume you don't have, I don't think this exists, but a Webster Groves intra-town trail.
Mhm.
But still, that speaks to just the regional mobility and
Right.
just the entertainment value of getting on your bike and just going.
Yeah.
So is there an opportunity for kind of overarching, just generic trail marketing versus a greenways trail?
I think that's a really good question. I think we try to work our way into other things like getting on Google Maps has been interesting, right? Because they're kind of determining things that aren't necessarily along like a path through a forested area. If you're along a roadway, you're considered a sidewalk. So it's very much how do we market this as something that is truly like its own separate entity? And getting on things like all trails, it's a part of our visibility on some of these things that might alert people to a system that they didn't know was there. To your point, the group in Illinois is actually our sister agency. So in 2000, that vote created us, which our real name, the less fun one, is Metropolitan Parks and Recreation Department. They are the Metro East Parks and Recreation Department. So they have 3 ? I think. Don't quote me on that. 3 people. So they're a lot smaller of an entity, but they were created within that same vote. So it is something that we are sister organizations, but we each kind of own our own area. There are national groups that work on promoting trails in general. There are some like Rails to Trails, but they are very specific and you have to have converted a previous railway into a trail. But as far as an overarching thing, we're trying to get on just kind of those ubiquitous things like Google Maps and all trails. Any questions? Oh, wait, hang on. There's online
We
things.
have chatter online.
Online things.
Someone asked if there's plans to do any work in Jefferson County.
So Jefferson County was not originally part of that vote, so not currently. That is something that if people in that area are interested, I think if you wanted to bring it to a vote or try to get it on a ballot, that would be kind of following the same framework that we had set up where it would need to go to a public vote for it to be at least tax funded, but not currently, no. Ooh, Centennial in Olivet. I walk about 5 times a week on Centennial and Olivet. It's awesome. I'm so grateful. There are other people to speak, or other people I speak with who use the trail. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Olivet, that connection is super fun. Yeah, it's just really interesting. Like they just kind of are places that you would have passed by a bunch. And if you don't know it's Greenway, you might not know it's a Greenway. But then when you start to see the overall thing, it comes together. So yeah, what other questions? Are there any other questions online? Is there, oh yeah.
I have one.
Yeah.
So I noticed there's this distinction between future greenways and greenways in construction. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Where are the green dots in planning?
Yes, so all over in the planning phase, anywhere from, hey, we just started talking with the community and are hoping to build out something in this area, don't necessarily have an alignment, but we know we want something here, to right before construction, basically when they move into greenways, and that the construction is really the differentiation there. So whether we've broken ground and gotten something kind of started. So I can actually potentially, where did the other guy go?
Well, first, can you explain the garden flag?
Project schedule.
So we did just come up with some garden flags, if you want some, there at our office. That was a brick line one, specific to one of our projects, but we do
I don't
have
like the way
overall
he
Great
does
Rivers
it.
Greenway.
You know, he has the
cute little
cover
icon
page over
greenways,
here.
Garden flags, they're free, come by our office, come say hello, give you the
Is
grand
that,
tour.
is that last
Grab one of those guys,
with the
but
Brennan-
yeah, there's a lot of different ways that we are, it's kind of like one of our 25th anniversary ideas, to maybe get some garden flags out. We're trying a lot of different things, trying to be, again, very mindful of costs on things so that we are using
ones that he
dollars
said are
wisely, but
coming.
also still
Yeah.
bringing that awareness and promotion to the fact that this
Yeah,
system
and it's
exists.
every year, it's every April.
So this is our lovely little website. If you are popping on here to kind of navigate maybe setting up an upcoming trip or want to know what we are working on, there are 2 main places that I would recommend. So this Visit Greenways, if you go to the drop down that will show up in about 4 business years, it will say Greenways to visit. Those are segments that are built. So you can kind of see on the map, those are those solid lines. If you want to look at what we are working on, future projects should drop down to say Greenways in progress. And those are going to be kind of both of those dotted dashed bits. So things that we've just started planning that we want to hear what you think on, things that we have found construction vendors for and are prepping the site, things that we're going to be breaking ground soon. So once the project is is done, it'll
I
move
thought.
into that
Yeah,
visit
okay.
Greenways.
Oh, that's
Not that you
right.
can't go
But-
look at construction, but
I
that's maybe not
just
as
told him
fun
I
as,
wanted him to itemize.
you know, seeing.
And what he
a
Because
said-
then I
project.
could see the exact date.
And then
fees
also
for
under
big
Visit
money.
Greenways is our big
Okay.
interactive
Then
Which
map,
year?
getting that zhuzh before the end of the year, so
it's gotta
that's a
be
fun
for
place to
the
kind
upcoming year.
of
'cause it's
see what's
April.
close to you.
So it'll
Yeah.
be April
Is that where the
26th,
QR
but
code
he
looks like
can't
feature?
invoice for
Yes,
those
yes.
costs.
Mhm.
Because
Either.
Yeah.
Well,
before
he's
April.
saying,
So doesn't he have other costs?
What else we got? I know that was like
he's,
hurling information
right.
at you.
because what he said
a
in
lot,
the narrative, when he sent the
but-
report was,
Like,
we've
how
already
long
spent
on
more,
average
you
do
know,
each
enough
project
money
take
to
from
justify
planning to-
filing
Oh my
for
gosh,
the
that's a great
invoice.
question.
But then
Um,
he got,
I
then
feel
he
like every
put,
answer
then
is
he
so
put future
variable,
stuff.
because there's things
Yeah,
like,
in
so for example,
the-
over
Now, I think he's
in
okay with
finances,
this
Maplewood slash
administrative time.
Webster
because
Coast,
that's
there is
okay.
park we're
But if
starting
he's
on
got
called Oxford
costs,
Bend
he'd be
Park.
better to
So it's
put
right there
marketing and
at
other things
Oxford
here
and Big
than
Bend.
another
And
artist.
And take
that's
this
been
future
about 8
event
years
out.
in the making.
Yeah,
We are
because that's not
breaking
gonna come
ground
until April 26th.
Monday.
I think it's the big one.
So
Yeah, it's
it's
the biggest
something that
one they do every
sometimes,
year.
you know,
Some other
projects
expense.
just do end
on
up
there,
taking a lot
and
longer
it's
than initially
December.
planned because
Almost
maybe
even
something else is
But more
built
than
near the Greenway, right, that we
that, I think he's,
weren't, or maybe
he-
funding
because
changes.
of
There's a lot of different
the way
things.
he reports,
Typically, any funding that we apply for like Department of Transportation
When he
versus
did,
anything
and
the way-
particularly environmental, because we do work so much with roadways.
But
But there's a myriad of
Yeah.
things
that'd
that
be
can
good.
change, so
But the
they
other
get.
but the
happen
one
according
he
to
just
plan
did
within
this past April,
2-3 years.
it's not
or
in
it
the
can
grant,
be
It's not
much
this
longer,
one.
it's not in
so
the grant year.
It's gotta be in the.
something
it
else
will
we're
be in
doing
there
for our
by April of
anniversary
26.
is we're
Right.
calling the Greenway
April
Challenge.
25.
But not
Um,
April
and that will be
20
live
25. That's a
maybe
different
next
grant.
month,
That's the July-
but
that's the
basically
one that
it's
started
kind of
July
like,
1,
remember the Oregon
2024.
Trail? It's kind of like that, but for
You know what I mean?
greenways. So it really walks you through, okay, if you want to build a greenway, here are the construction
I think
things
he
that could
mixes them
happen,
up.
or here's some of the
Yeah,
conservation
I do.
things that could
It
happen,
does.
and it
I
has little
think
fun
he
pop-ups
mixes
that kind
them
of
up.
throw
So
off your
he's
plan
good.
throughout to kind of show some of the things that can come up,
Yeah.
but
that's
how
on the-
we work with our
Yeah, the
partners
letters
and
back
communities
along
to
The
kind
next
of
one
keep things
doesn't
moving
happen
and
yet.
get
So
everything
then,
built.
if he keeps that stuff.
I assume there won't be you got bit by
Okay.
a rattlesnake, you died.
I'll see if I can
No,
reach him on the
thankfully
phone.
no. Thankfully, no. Yeah. There's no, what is it? What do you get on the?
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you see that. There's no diseases you can catch or anything from. Just construction pop-ups, you know?
Greenway fever.
Greenway fever.
Yeah, you just can't leave them.
Yeah.
Claire, do you know anything about the novelty of the Great River Greenway? Actually, let me rephrase that. What's the actual organization name? The Parks?
Metro Parks and Recreation Park,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Metro Parks and Recreation. I just think that's fun to know the inside
Yeah.
jargon. So a structure like that, a tax-funded focus on non-car based mobility.
Mhm.
How unique is that in the country? Is that common? Less common? I don't need you to be like, let me tell you about Baltimore.
No.
Just broad strokes.
I think to the extent that we are doing the size, the capacity of it, pretty singular. Because it does feel like, again, some of these other networks, they are like 6-ish miles, which is really cool. And they are, a lot of them that are larger like that do seem to be rails to trails or like trestles that have been converted, things like that, that are a little bit more honed into a specific area. And of course, there's things that can come with that, like gentrification, right? And so this is something that I've really noticed with this organization taking on the stewardship of making sure things are equitable throughout, inclusive throughout, making sure where we are going, we're trying to bolster businesses, help neighborhoods, have an asset that they want. It does actually raise property values whenever we put in greenways as well, makes places safer with more people. So there are all these added benefits that we're trying to spread out across a size that I don't feel like I've seen or know of anybody else doing it to that capacity yet.
It's really interesting because I was reflecting on how Atlanta specifically did a rail
Yeah.
to trail program, and gentrification was a huge issue from that.
100%.
They took basically what wasn't desirable, or at least in quotes,
Yeah.
and just through the power of that trail, it massively increased retail and housing value along the trail, which of course gets real complicated when you're trying to live there.
100%. It's
So I think that's wonderful. I'm very pleased that it's yet another reason to be proud of St. Louis.
yeah, it is definitely a civic pride thing, and we are always visiting. We actually had people in Texas for a City Parks Alliance thing on and I think it's like last Thursday and Friday, and they got to tour different parks and see kind of how they operated. And we had some people on the Beltline. We have people in Georgia and New York. Just kind of we go and see what other places are doing because it's great to get ideas and see how, even if it's at a different scale or different capacity, what each area is doing. Like sometimes we'll find places that have basically our whole staff, like 40 operations people for their parks. Like there was a place in Austin that had 40 ops and maintenance people, and we have 45 people total. You know, so it's very interesting to see how each area works with the resources they have and works with their communities. But yeah, I think a lot of it is just making sure we're making things better for people.
You said, so a lot of it's partnering with the governments. Do you do any partnerships with other organizations like Forestry League or?
Yeah. Forestry Relief does help on some of our tree plantings and things like that. It's just such a kind of tight-knit sustainability community. When I moved back to the area and started kind of shifting into this field, it's like everybody knows somebody from somewhere, and it's very helpful, right? Like, oh, we have a, you know, Forestry Relief specifically made me think if we do chainsaw trainings, right? And we kind of help different places and use what we have as far as knowledge and, you know, materials on our staff to train other areas and vice versa. We do create, whenever we're looking to build a new area, community advisory committees. So we have people that are just community members or part of other organizations that come in and tell us their thoughts. So we do end up working with just all manner of both individuals and then groups that are outside of government entities, but as well as those of municipalities and stuff. Yeah.
This is just a comment. So
Yeah.
my husband and I bought bikes this year, and we've been visiting a lot of the
Yeah.
trail. And especially, we love that one in Valley Park along the Merrimack.
Oh, yeah.
And a big chunk of it got washed into the Merrimack this
A
spring.
chunk, yes.
When we first started riding, and we were like, wow, when that's gonna take to be fixed. It was like,
I'm gonna be really honest, that one I was like, oh my God, that was good. Yeah.
and they had to fill in like boulders and, you know, the trail was just go on
Yeah.
to the river. So
There's-
I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of floodplain studies that we do because again, if we're a river ring, we're following the waterways, so that's great. We can allow for flooding, comma, there's still going to be erosion and things like that that happen that we obviously try to plan against that happening and make sure we have the right amount of space. But yes, specifically on that area of Merrimack, I got it to the info one day and it was just like somebody had just bloop and the part of the trail was gone. And that was our partners. You know, we communicated with our partners that, hey, this is happening. We actually also, I think, removed a pavilion and some restrooms there due to erosion as well.
Yeah, the pavilion was falling.
Yes. It's around that same kind of washout area. So where we see those issues, we get a hold of our partners, let them know, see how we can work together to get something fixed as quickly as possible. So obviously when the washout first happened, we closed that area, we got signage out, we got an alert on the website. And then, yeah, they moved very quickly to get that pavement filled in, settled and safe and back to working order. So again, it kind of depends on the capacity of our partners and, you know, the size of each thing. You know, when there's a massive hole, nobody plans for that really, but they did a great job turning that around really quickly.
Yeah.
And Claire,
Great.
it's Marla. So hi, Claire. Can you
Yes,
guys
more about the social throughway. Yes. Yeah, we definitely just want to bring people together. I think it's kind of fun we did a recent event that was called Roll Through St. Louis with Starkloff Disability Institute and some of our friends from Metro and just kind of explored around. And it was really nice. It's something that I'm trying to do as I learn all of the greenways as well over such a large space, just to get out and find new things or go past shops or restaurants that you haven't been by before. Or, yeah, it's a fun place to connect. What other questions can I answer?
I'll give you another one.
Yeah,
I
hit
didn't see on your slides how you give back 91 cents every dollar.
94, 5.
Five.
Fluctuates between 4 and 5.
The percentage back.
Yeah, I will have to look that up. I mean, it's the return on investment based on the dollars that we take in from that tax versus what we have spent to construct an area. But if there are specifics on that, I can grab them for you.
But I just what the return on investment to then come up with, we're only using 6 cents of every dollar you give us. what the spirit of that is. I don't need details. I was just curious,
Yeah,
the funding conversation
Mhm.
includes you're getting more out of this community than,
Right.
you know, than we're putting in.
yeah,
So I guess, do you have the kind of the spiel on what the funding conversation is?
I think it's a very high level spiel and that it would just be like efficiency. Truly, it is, if this is something that people voted for, want, this is a vision of the people that we are enacting, right? This is something that came about because people wanted more outdoor space, they wanted more connections. And if we are doing that based on taxes, we want to be good stewards of that. We want to make sure if you're giving us our money, we're going to do this as efficiently as possible. We work with our construction vendors to find the lowest and best bid for everything. So we always compare, obviously, like the deliverables, the quality, everything that we're getting, in addition to, you know, what is the cost of this bid. So I think it really just boils down to like, we want to help do the most good possible with what we have. So short spiel.
Annual reports on the website, so you can look at the actual dollars, the financials.
Yeah, Cheryl, that's a really good point. There's a lot of information on the website. So one thing I learned when I started is we use this kind of also as an intranet. Like a big part of what we do is transparency. And so if you go into, we're gonna find out. Maybe. Oh boy. Oh, now it was, okay. Well, maybe we'll see our plans and reports. Yeah, it's.
Directors.
Yeah, we do have all of our board meetings every month. They're in our calendar. They're open. Come hang out, grab a flag, say hello. But we do have our regional plan updates that we do every 5 years. We're working on one right now. Our strategy documents, our annual reports. But you can kind of see the impacts of where dollars were spent, mileage that was built over the past couple of years. In our strategy documents, you can see all sorts of stuff like our design guidelines, our DEI plans, our level of care. So again, because so many different people end up taking care of the greenways, they're still greenways, right? So we want to set a level of care, a good general standard of how things are maintained. We do also keep all of the signage the same throughout, which is something that we maintain. So while it's the community all coming together to take care of these, we do still want that continuity so people can understand, oh, I'm on a greenway. But yeah, all of this is online. If you ever feel so inclined to read big old reports, you know, it's there. And two, you know, any information that you don't see on here, or if there's ever something that you're like, that was hard to find, or I can't find that, please tell me, because we just want to make this all easy and accessible for people to find. Something I can't tell you really.
Yeah.
Or probably things I don't know, but probably not things I can't tell you.
I was wondering, is there a way that users can provide input, or like if they're using a trail and they see something?
Yeah.
Or just have some thoughts as to like what could be in the future. And I guess I say this because I was on the same trail that you were talking about. And at one point, there's like a jog where it's not really clear, like where you have to turn to get back on the trail. I think for like a very short time, it's on a roadway and maybe it's going over a bridge or something. And then like once you go on the bridge, then you like scoot around and then you get back on the trail. But it's not really clear.
Okay.
So I was using it with a bunch of Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
So is there like a way where users would say, hey,
Totally.
some signage would be better?
Absolutely. So I would say in our footer, we have this contact, and you can kind of tell us what you're calling about. So do you have a Greenway story that you want to share? There's some conditions that are funky, if you've got ideas, and then it will let you pick the segment that you're on. If you don't even want to fill out all that, just email info@, and I'll take that too, because that's where this forum goes. So basically all of those requests I get and kind of funnel to the appropriate teams. But I always want to hear that. I have kind of enlisted my parents. They were like, oh, we want to get out. I'm like, go out, find stuff what's wrong. Tell me. They didn't realize they were getting hired. So if you go all the way down to our footer, hang on.
Just the bottom of the.
contact us, yes. Or again, this info at is me, so if you just click on that, it'll email, but we always want to hear stuff like that, so like, again, and listen to my parents, they're pretty good wayfinders, but they've said that about a couple spots too, of like, oh, signage here would be helpful, and then that can help us plan, again, the foundation, we can get some funds for things like betterments, additional signage. So there's wayfinding signage, but we also do interpretive signage that tells the story of the region as well, or we have some really interesting, kind of over by the Carondelet area, there's some really cool karst topography that we have signage that talks about that. And so there's those kinds of signs, but also the helpful, oh my gosh, where am I? Things
Yeah.
that are maybe a little bit more urgent. But yeah, just please, like anytime you see anything good, bad, medium, tell us. We want to know, like this is your network and we want it to be helpful, fun, good. I get very cute things to info at sometimes. Somebody sent me 2 pictures of butterflies.
Aw.
Terrible fun pictures of butterflies the other day, and they said they saw them on the walk with their mom. I was like,
FYI.
this is the cutest email I've ever received.
Is there anything pertinent to share about the Brookline Greenway?
Yes, though I'm not an expert on it, but we do have this question mark if you go to our main site. Oh, come on, you can do it. Pop up over here. Ta-da. That will take you to kind of like a mini site for the Brookline Greenway. So basically what we're trying to do there is connect north and south Fairgrounds Park to Tower Grove Park and then Forest Park to the Arch Grounds. So it is a big O undertaking, right? It's a lot of connection trails. You'll see kind of on the map too, there are some of those brown lines that are partner trails. So for example, the bottom part of Brickline that goes to Tower Grove is actually somebody else building that trail, but it is going to connect into Brickline. So all in all, you'll have a connection to all 4 of those parks, which will be really cool. It will show up, I promise, at some point, but yeah, it's a really big undertaking and it's really cool. I don't know if anybody's been in front of Energizer Park for the stadium. There's a really cool installation there actually by Damon Davis, who we commissioned to tell the story of that area before there was a stadium there, before there were, you know,
It
some
is
of the
really cool,
things.
very gripping.
Yeah, it's an incredible story about Mill Creek Valley and the residents that lived there and how that land was all completely taken from the residents and they were forced out of homes, businesses, schools, places of worship, all sorts of things that really are important parts of St. Louis's history. And I do think it's interesting that, you know, a stadium has that in front of their place. Like, how often do you see people really recognizing, hey, this is the story of where we are and we want to, you know, own that and talk about it. It's actually really cool if you are heading east and you're in front of the stadium. If you look into some of the landscaping, we actually have markers of previous homes' addresses, and the landscaping shows what the houses, their shapes, like their layouts, and it's a really moving thing. I think it's a really cool addition to the city where we worked with you know, the stadium to get that history told. So I would definitely check that out. It's very fun. Education. It loaded. It's alive. It's real. So you can kind of see, yeah, some of the connections here. Yeah, we'll say that the internet connection is not just an internet connection problem. It's for you to explore later. Purpose, right?
You got homework.
You got homework. But yeah. Oh, hey, famous face. Yeah. So it's a really cool project. It's too big to even fit on one part of the screen, but yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Actually, we have recently added on our website a page about just the art that we have throughout the Greenways, because I think for a long time we had all these installations, but unless you had seen them or knew exactly where they lived, you wouldn't know. This is obviously the Brickline specific section. So one of the most recent things, art installations we did, there's a mural at Stars Park that talks about the baseball team that was there that won like I think 3 out of 4 World Series. Like, it's an incredible, another piece of history that's really cool and maybe not, you know, as well known and should be. It's a part of our city, and we have these really lovely student artists come out and make some great art along that connection right there at Market. So check that out as well. Oh, hey, Marla McDonald. One of our community engagement. Yeah, oh, yeah, one of our community engagement specialists is on. And what are the present day and future benefits of telling stories like Mill Creek? What are the lessons? Woof, that is such a good question. I think it's imbuing equity into everything we do, right? Like, I think it's very much a acknowledgement of what has happened previously, what has made our city the way that it is, and making sure we don't repeat some of those terrible things, right? Like, I think it's just very much something that needs to be talked about to honor and also use as a lesson, to your point. Oh, yeah, I don't know if we can hear you online, friends.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. We
Um,
were able to hear them earlier. I wonder if it's the
Yeah, please.
speaker settings.
If it's accessible, please make sure you're typing your questions. I will try to grab those. Again, if I don't get to any questions, hit that info at grgstl.org email. I will follow up. But yeah, Marla can help me grab some of those too. Thank you, Marla. I appreciate you.
Yeah, if we have any final questions or
What's the pushback? Like, why not?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think often people think that we utilize eminent domain. Like, we're gonna come in and be like, your backyard is ours. We don't utilize eminent domain. Like, again, it's we go where you want us to go. So some of that pushback is maybe somebody has just learned about a project and they see on our maps that it might be close to their house and they have concerns about, people being close to their areas. A lot of that feedback is really helpful for us in even understanding how, when a project starts, what maps do we put out, right? Because if we put out a map with an alignment and you see that it goes right by you, it's going to be concerning. If we put out a map that has maybe a circle, like we call it a blob map, it's a very technical term, a blob of where we might go, right? Then that might make more people concerned. It's very much, I think, making sure people are as informed as possible about the projects and understand, that we're not gonna come and take anybody's land or be someplace that we're not wanted. That's typically the pushback that I've seen. I got a whopping 8 months under my belt, but I don't think I've seen anything besides that's been the main kind of that I've seen.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah, that's
Claire.
blabbing, but yeah, no, please, anytime you guys want to connect or if anybody wants to grab a copy, I'm happy to blab more about Greenway.
Yes, and I'll just wrap us up by letting everyone know that we're hosting a 1STO Climate Action Summit, January 29th and 30th next year. So registration is now open for that.
Early bird, better
Early
price.
bird, yeah, open for about another month, so get it while it lasts.
That's
And
gonna
that's
be,
all.
yeah, a really interesting talk that kind of has different tracks for, you can pick the sessions that you want to do. There's government, community-based organizations and
Development.
community development
Community development,
organizations and
business and
businesses.
government, yes.
Yeah.
So any and all are welcome, and we have a bunch of fun, interesting, thought-provoking sessions planned, and we're gonna have some, roundtable discussions too, so.
Yes, significant interactivity in this
Mhm.
summit. It's not just sit still,
Yeah,
sit and
we're
receive.
gonna be
You get it.
talking, we're gonna be learning, we're gonna be planning, so.
And
Where will it be held?
It's gonna be held at the WashU Eric P. Newman Education Center, which is on Euclid, Central West End, so.
Washington Medical Campus.
Yeah,
It's, you know,
yeah,
Mhm.
like, I don't know, but it's on their campus somewhere. But yeah, thank you again so much, Claire.
Thanks for having me.
Teaching us about GRG and
Crash
everyone
course
get
in
out on,
Greenway.
yeah, everyone get on your greenways.
Yeah. Please take maps, take slaps.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we have little goodies
I know
here.
everybody's always like, why slap bracelets? Put them on your bikes, put them on dog leashes, make sure you're visible.
Yeah,
like
they're
we say,
reflective,
they're
right?
reflective.
So they're for
Shiny
safety.
cute bracelets that do good.
Thank you to all of our
Thanks.
online folks.
Appreciate you
Oh, and
joining.
we will not be having sustainability lab again until February.
Oh
So
my goodness, what an honor.
we've got the holidays and then we've got the summit. So yeah, yeah. So ta-ta for now, but yeah, we'll be in touch. So
Well, thank you so much.
yeah, thank
you for coming. I
you. Thanks,
appreciate it.
everyone.